past. You want me to go over to the next one?
Yeah, he's on top.
Hmm?
He's on top.
Yeah.
Yes, Birmingham. WATV Birmingham. Broadcasting company. We are the all new V9049 WATV. And right now, the V stands for vital.
I got a serious question to ask you, man.
It's time to get wooed with Lady Woo and the Emmy Award winning, life changing, bridge building, entertainment filled, substance packed, turn up talk show. Vital. Adjust the radio. And find us on social media at V9049 on Facebook so you can watch and comment. It's on your radio.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, yeah. I'm going to like go to the.
It's B949 WATV, where the V stands for variety. Right now, it stands for vital. It's me, Lady Woo, and the crew. Welcome to the show. Let me turn my mic down. So that those of you who are watching our virtual show can hear, we are on several different streams right now. So that's what we're adjusting as we get started. In studio today, we have who? Who's here?
It's your boy Ready Eddie.
Sir said the right hand man.
And we have special guests and Sturdy's over there as well doing his thing. A special guest in studio, our police chief, the chief of the Birmingham Police Department is in studio with us as well. Welcome, Chief.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm trying to get my headphones right. Something's happening and I can't hear myself, guys. Hate to point out things that aren't working on air, but that's what's happening right now. So let's see what's happening with that. I'll keep figuring that out. And while I do that, it has been a pretty relaxed week. I think that now everybody's calm. We're able to breathe again and be normal somewhat. Are you all okay this week? Has your week been better?
Yeah, it seems like the closer, further we get away from the election, the better things tend to get. So
Absolutely. Like the whole climate is just different. Like people are normal again. You don't feel as hated when you walk out. is that how you?
I ain't gotta look over my shoulder or nothing like that.
Look over your shoulder, honey. So you kind of feel a little bit better about things. Is that the general consensus, Chief? How you feeling after the election?
Hey, I'm just ready for a new start.
Right. Like, I think that is how we all feel, and we're just ready for it to happen. So have you all noticed that Trump looks different?
I haven't actually seen him really too tough.
He looks
when
different.
he came out like one time, like on Veterans Day, I think that was his first public appearance, and I don't know how long.
But different how?
Well, his hair is not orange anymore.
Oh.
Skin is not orange anymore.
Oh.
He looks normal.
He
looks
letting himself
natural.
go.
That part.
He don't have that election glow no more. He didn't let it go. It's like, hey, listen, America don't want me no more. So I mean, I'm gonna look how I'm gonna look. Y'all gonna get me
And it looks better. I like him this way. And most people don't like him at all, but I do like him this way. So that's what's happening, guys. Anything else in news? Anything else that you all have seen? And I know you watch the news.
Not much outside of Carson being diagnosed with COVID.
No, and what was it? 133 secret staff workers that diagnosed or like had to quarantine because they came in contact.
Yeah, more than half of the Secret Service have been rotatingly sick.
Yeah,
with COVID.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's really crazy.
But we had already been advised. Well, first of all, I mean, if you get in a motorcade, Chief, if you decide you want to go do a parade and you get all your officers to get in the truck with you and you know you're positive, what's gonna happen?
You know, I was gonna say that because he did not properly quarantine during that time.
Right.
I don't know who the guy was driving him around, knowing that he's in the back of COVID, but that's not the job that I would want.
And knowing that he's not wearing a mask while he's positive for it.
All the windows are up and you're trapped in there with him.
I'll risk it all for you, President.
I mean, in a lot of instances, it's not even about risking it all for the president. Like, what other choice do you have? No, I don't feel safe being around the president. Okay, well, you're just going to lose your job then.
I mean, yeah, I'm doing my job, but I also know that I'm risking my life. So that's what's happening in the White House. So the White House is going to have to be fumigated, triple clean.
I would, like, real talk,
Sage,
I would. I'd be like, hey,
painted.
if y'all are transitioning them out, go ahead and just steam clean and give it a good steam clean. Like, we'll go stay somewhere else. We can stay in a hotel after your inauguration. Y'all just get that cleaned and sanitized first.
Yeah. What else? Anything else?
Million Mega March.
Oh my goodness.
Which seemed to be like a couple of thousand Mega March. But it was a lot of people out there. There was a lot of far right extremist groups like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and just a whole bunch of other little people who believe that the election was stolen. And this is a moment to for them to show that they have a problem with this process, even though the most patriotic of us are not acknowledging that the most patriotic thing we can do in our country, we just vote, was legitimate. I don't understand.
They already, I mean, they said from the beginning they didn't feel that it would, I mean, he knew this is something that everybody knew.
He had his bets. Like, same thing he did when he ran against Hillary back in 2016. He had his bets. Well, the only reason I won't win is because the election was stolen from me. He started planting those seeds back in 2016 that anything that results in any other results other than me winning means that somebody cheated me or somebody stole it from me. And like I say, I've been saying for the past few weeks, don't be surprised that Trump gets out here and creates a news network or some kind of TV network because he was on the fringe of doing it in 2016 and then he surprised himself and won the election.
He surprised himself, and now he doesn't want to give it up. That's the crazy part. Like,
it's not. I don't even think really it has anything to do with giving up more so than I don't like losing, and I lost, and you know, he has created, he's created and helped sustain the generation of sore losers.
And he's got enough people who will hold him up in his wrong that at this point, as a narcissist, he's probably gonna have to maintain this. Like, he's gonna have to see this through until he just can't anymore. I mean, he acknowledged Joe Biden's win on Twitter by saying Joe Biden won, but it was a rigged election, and so he don't plan on conceding. And he's been setting this up the whole time. He's just been casting doubt in all of the government agencies, targeting the ones that benefit him to target at the moment. And when he realized that Joe Biden had a lot of support, started talking about the mail system, started talking about a ballot, started talking about all of these different things that cast doubt, and this is the effect of that. He got a lot of people who are out here just talking about the election was stolen.
Well, yeah, and Lindsey Graham has already said that when Republicans get back control of the Senate, he's talking about already doing or if they get control of the Senate, talking about doing a joint Senate committee with House of Representatives on mail-in balloting. So they're already trying to set the tone for 2022 to go ahead. Like I said, Republicans play chess, Democrats play checkers. So they're like, all right, we lost, that's cool. Democrats would be partying in the streets and celebrating. Republicans like, okay,
what's
cool.
next?
So gerrymandering is on, redlining is up. We're going to do all these things because you got to look at states, like a state like Alabama that is under Republican control, they're going to start rewriting the lines based on the census results. So areas that are more Democratic, or you may see them be less Democratic now because of how the lines are redrawn and everything else. So they're gonna say that's cool. We'll take this loss right now, but guess what? We gonna get the Senate and the House back in 2022 because we're gonna put things in order to suppress your vote to make sure that our people are in positions where they can win and win strong in their district.
And that's whittling the system down too, because gerrymandering is the system that's created so many primaries where you got these extremist Republicans
Right.
going up against these moderate Republicans, and the moderates either got to be more extreme. That's how Luther Strange could be up against a Roy Moore,
Right.
because they done made these districts all red, and so who run against each other? The moderate red versus the extremist red, and so this gonna come back to bite them in their tail at some point. But like you said, they gonna just start back playing chess.
Well,
from the drawing board.
This is what's happening, and it's happening every day. So you all can catch more of these conversations on all of our social media pages as we talk about how the world is shifting. And boy, aren't we happy about it. Hello to everyone who's watching online. Thank you all for bearing with me while I got my sound right on my side. Welcome to the show. And good to see you over there.
What's up, people?
What'd you say?
What's up, people? How y'all doing?
It's doing good. Look like you multitasking over there, man. You
what
you got going?
I'm just at the computer here talking to y'all today.
Oh, welcome. Okay. All right.
I can shift my focus over this way.
Oh, look at it.
I was just waiting for my opportunity to talk.
Okay.
Happy to be here today.
Okay. So in studio, we have our chief, Patrick Smith. Welcome so much to, or welcome to the show. And thank you so much for joining.
Hey, thank you very much for having me here.
Absolutely. So I'm trying to figure out where this echo is coming from. Which one of us is that?
It's not me.
I can't hear anything.
Are we good now? Can you all hear?
I can hear now.
Right. Wonderful. So, Chief, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you.
We had this conversation before we started, and I was like, kind of feel away because it's been, how long have you been our chief?
About 2.5 years now.
This is unbelievable.
2.5 years. Wow.
Yes.
Time is flying.
It is. So that part, and then we talked about the fact that you've never been on Vital.
Right.
And he was like, well, yeah, I don't just show up where I'm not invited. I was like, hold up. First of all,
I accept all invitations, but I just don't, show up at your door.
We want to send it to the right people.
Maybe, right. So I'm going to tell you how this all went. I marched up to City Hall and sat down and had a live sit down with our mayor. And I was like, look, I need to talk to the next thing. I need to talk to the chief. And they made it. It just happened. Like, boom.
See,
welcome.
We talked to the right people. We sent a message to the right people.
Right. So I'm so happy to have you on this Sunday evening joining us on the radio and on social and in the mix with us. So you are originally from Tuscaloosa.
Yes, I grew up, born and raised in Tuscaloosa.
Roll Tide.
There, most of my youth, all of my youth.
Okay. And then moved to California.
Partially. Well, so before I started law enforcement, I spent 7 years in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
And which took me several places, and one of them being out in California. And so when I got out, it was freezing cold here, and it was nice and warm there.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I'll go back later. So 28 years later, I came on back. I kept my word.
Welcome back. So out in California, what was your position with the department?
Well, I spent 28 years with LAPD.
Wow.
And my position was the rank of commander. And so that's like maybe 2-3 ranks below the chief of police.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was over our training there. LAPD has like 3 police academies. So I was over the 3 police academies in service training, our ranges, firearms, use of force, a number of areas.
So your history is extensive. And just speaking about training, to just jump straight into that, 3 academies in LA and 1 here, right?
Yes.
So, coming back home to a smaller force and then having the experience that you've had, how was that shift?
It's a little bit different, but for the most part, it's manageable. Much more
Okay.
manageable here.
I'm sure it is. And when you say different, is it slower?
Much slower. So in LA, every 28 days you start a new police academy of recruits every 28 days.
Wow. Okay.
So here we were when I arrived, we were doing one police academy per year,
Mm.
Per year.
per year, and so now we're up to three per year, and so we'll
Okay.
keep it at three per year.
Okay.
But it's that even that is much more manageable than every 28 days you're starting a new class.
I'm sure. What are some of the major differences with the energy about the officers? I know like LA is just way different. Like it's way different. But then you come to
Hmm.
Birmingham and even the type of crimes are different.
Yes, it
What
is.
are some like what are some of the major differences from your vantage point?
Well, from what I see, uh, just a few days ago, I did a video on our homicides,
Mhm.
in that a lot of them are relationship based, a lot of them are domestic violence based,
Mhm.
and over half of them we can track down to people who know each other
Right.
and have been involved with each other for some time, and just things go bad. A lot more guns on the street.
Yeah, and that leads me to my thoughts about, during COVID, we heard a lot and we knew that the numbers for domestic violence were spiking
Hmm.
and people being in close proximity. Um when you think about policing, is there anything that you can do or that the force can do with these type situations during COVID or just period? What is the role of the police department in this time?
Well, so here in Birmingham, as compared to last year, we've gotten over 200 more calls related to domestic violence. And so for us, we just try to take it seriously
Hmm.
and try to connect people with the right resources, try to help people, even times when they don't want to be helped. It's a very difficult
Yeah.
situation, particularly when your abuser is also the main breadwinner in the family. And, it's a very difficult balancing act for someone who may be in danger.
Mm. So always just being like offering the officers as a resource. The Birmingham Police Department is a resource. No matter what decision you make, we're going to do our part to
We have
protect
to
and
do our
serve.
part. We
Yeah.
have to do our part. We partner with a number of nonprofits like One Place, YWCA, and a number of other areas that try to help, um, with placement, with counseling, with help, with follow up. So, and like One Place is a one stop shop where
Hmm.
we work directly with them to try to make sure that everything is happening the way that it should.
Awesome. So speaking about just what's happening and what we've been hearing a lot about police departments all
Hmm.
around the
Hmm.
world,
Hmm.
the defund the police
Hmm.
movement, like that's a
Hmm.
whole thing.
Yes.
And some people feel that it means that we're going to take all the money away from the police departments.
Right.
Some people know that it does not mean that, but then some people who are saying it, they really do mean that.
Right.
What does that statement mean to you?
Well, so it I understand the concept behind it. The concept behind it is to take money to reappropriate it to other areas to try to get other people involved in the circumstances and resolve problems such
Right.
as counselors, social workers, and things of that nature.
Hmm.
Um, and so I look at it, and I always say, so forgive me. I say don't defund your police. I say refund your police.
Okay.
And here's why I say that. The whole defund thing comes out of Minnesota,
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
they have the
Hmm.
same number of police officers that you have here in Birmingham, almost exactly.
Okay.
But their budget is $101 million more than Birmingham has. And so, um, the thing that I see, and one of the major differences between here in Los Angeles,
Hmm.
is Los Angeles invests a lot in training, and Birmingham isn't quite there yet.
You're right.
Yeah.
So, and you operated those programs, the training
Yes.
programs. And so if I'm
Yes.
trained to do a job efficiently, effectively, you won't have as many issues to occur.
Absolutely. If you invest in your training, um, if you invest in training such as your mental health training, your domestic violence training, your de-escalation,
Mhm.
your implicit bias, and those things, and you start lining up the right training for your officers, it will decrease in the incidents that you have because you are investing in your officers to make the right decisions.
Okay. I agree. I agree fully. Any you guys have anything? Because I do see some comments and questions from our viewers.
Well, I just really wanted to ask Chief Smith about your inspiration or influence of wanting to become a police officer, and not only wanting to become a police officer, but anytime you take on additional leadership roles, that's additional, you can call it a burden, stress, whatever that comes on you. So, what inspired you to become a police officer and then pursue becoming a chief of police?
Hmm.
You know what? Honestly, it was always my goal to be a police officer, and it was always my goal uh, to be chief of police here in Birmingham. Honestly, I told my dad when I was probably 9 years old that I was going to be chief of police. He laughed at the time, and he um, used it as a tool. Though he says, "Hey, if you're going to be chief of police, you need to do your homework. If you're going to be chief of police,
Yeah.
Hmm.
you need to get out there and be responsible and cut that yard and take the trash out and do this and do this. If you," and so he used it as a tool, and he would joke about it, but then later on, after spending so many years in law enforcement, working my way through the ranks,
Yeah.
he scratched his head and said, "Hey, this kid's serious."
Mm.
And so, it was my goal, um, and quite frankly, I waited and waited and waited until the former chief was finally retired, so that I could apply here in Birmingham, and I was fortunate enough to be prepared for the job.
So you had been eyeing this position, basically
Birmingham, not Tuscaloosa though.
waiting for the opportunity. Like, okay, he should be. He probably got a good 5 more years before he, and then you were positioning yourself to be ready to come in.
Absolutely, I spent my time preparing myself, and as I mentioned, there they invest a lot in training, and I spent a lot of time um, in training. The department even sent me off to Israel to learn
Mm,
about um, um, design of structures and how
Hmm.
it helped prevent like your suicide bombers and your active shooter situations and so forth and so on, because they have a full program there. You have to recognize that in Israel they live in a different area, different time, and those things happen quite frequently, and they've learned a lot. And so just to go there and be able to implement and work through a number of problem scenarios, situations, and uh, reap the benefit of all the training. And so my goal was to be able to bring it back here to help benefit law enforcement. And so one of the things that I've implemented here is like a totally different training program for our officers, to where it's every 30 days. Every other month, they have to go to training. Every other month, they have to get additional training in some area,
Awesome.
because my goal is to make sure that we have, number one, professional officers, but also officers who are very well trained that can make the right decisions.
Good. So, were you leaning in?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Um, I was just wondering how, there's a lot of evidence that indicates that the training that a lot of police officers need will revolve around connecting to the community, and maybe even a stronger advocacy for getting people from the community to become police officers.
Mhm.
How much does that how much of your idea of how much your officers need to engage with the community in a positive light to build that relationship do you feel needs to be a part of that training process?
Well, I feel that it's super important to be connected to the community. It's so important that I even placed a captain over community engagement and community actions to ensure that we have a good, positive connection with the community. This is why we have done during COVID five food giveaways to help the community, so that our officers can see the community members in a different light, and they can also see our officers in a different light. You cannot talk about being compassionate. You have to be about the compassion of the business, but also you have to demonstrate to your officers how compassion is, and you have to show them what the expectation is and get them involved in actions that will help the community.
I have a question here online.
Mhm.
Let's see, what's a couple of them? I gotta find it. Okay, so have there been? Do you foresee officers in the near future being required to include a degree? I guess the what's
Minimum
necessary. Yeah.
requirements. Yeah.
So uh, I believe that in order to promote to certain ranks, that should be a requirement.
Okay.
But for the minimum requirements to come on, I don't see us including that as a requirement. There are a number of ways that officers are able to work and go to school, and we definitely encourage them before before they promote. However, I would encourage them to go back to school to seek additional training, additional education, and always continue to be a lifetime learner to help develop themselves.
All right. Got a question in the virtual studio,
Okay.
Brother Blue.
Chief, how you doing?
All right. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. So I have a question. I got a comment slash question. So I remember when you first started, you came in, and I mean, it seemed like the first real introduction we had of you was always making some very speech that chiefs always, um, regret having to make. And so I've been praying for you, just personally, that 'cause, I mean, you came into some real tough situations. So just looking at Birmingham, looking at the unique dynamic of Birmingham, what do you think? I see a lot of people, and I have to tell you, I used to be on the other side of the law quite frequently, and I ran into every roadblock possible. But now that I'm not anywhere near that, I don't run into any roadblocks. So one part of me believe in roadblocks and how they help the community. And I heard some numbers you gave about how many guns were taken off the street. So how do you feel? Like how effective or ineffective do you feel tactics like those help? And do they just where are we on with that right now?
Okay. What specifically is your question? Where are we with what
Like,
part?
are roadblocks working? Basically, are they doing what they are aimed to do, to get rid of guns, to identify felony warrants, things like that?
So you mean
Okay.
real roadblocks? I thought.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So you're talking about our checkpoints, right?
Checkpoint, yeah.
Okay, so let me explain something to you. The entire purpose of a checkpoint is twofold. First, it's to slow the traffic patterns down in the city of Birmingham. When arrived here, not only were we losing citizens to um, in gunfire and things of that nature, we were having a lot of traffic collisions that were resulting in death. Um, Believe it or not, the speed in the city was off the charts. And so, what we've done is by instituting the checkpoints, we have just this past year an over 20% reduction in fatal traffic collisions. During that time frame, we've taken a number of people off the streets who were driving who had no business whatsoever on the streets, and were causing a lot of problems in terms of driving. Now, has there been another side of this where we've taken a number of guns off the street? Absolutely. Um, in the first year I was here, we have took over 2,000 guns off the street. Last year, we took over 2,000 guns off the street. And this year, we've already surpassed that. And we've already taken close to 2,000 guns off the street. Uh, and so you look at that in terms of impact. That's like in the past 2.5 years, like 6,000 guns that were taken off the streets that could have done more harm, damage, or injured more people than we already had. And so um, it it can be a dangerous situation sometimes, but we have to learn to control ourselves and know that a handgun is not the first line of resolution to a conflict.
All right, so guys, hold your other questions. I know Aunt, you're ready, and I see the questions in the social media feed. Miss Devetta Brown has some questions and thoughts, and
Okay.
also Alicia Richmond. So we're gonna come back to them in just a minute. We got to take a quick break. You guys will be right back. We'll keep the conversation going on social media. It's vital. B949 WATV.
949 WATV. The coronavirus has impacted all.
All right, everyone. So we are in studio with our Chief Patrick Smith from the Birmingham Police Department. I know that we have people from other jurisdictions watching as well, but this is all about BHM. Um, any questions or comments that you have that you posted, we will get to them on air in just a few minutes. We just take a quick commercial break, about 2 minutes, 2 minutes top. So just hang on, get you a sip of water or something like that, and we'll be
Mhm.
right back. Let's see. Gonna see it. Okay, Chief. So coming back, we'll talk about mental health clinicians being added to the patrolling or whatever. We'll
Mhm.
talk about no, not more. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, those are the two that I see in the virtual studio.
I didn't hear the last one.
One of our panelists has something as well.
Okay.
I got another question too.
And radiating.
All right.
Let me see. We got some water right here.
Hey, Courtney. I can't hear you saying anything.
Hey, Ed.
The baby looking like, why am I here?
She like, my mama got me out here again.
Right. That's how she gonna be when she get her talk show.
You know y'all talking
We
about
saying
her.
sweet things,
Right.
baby.
And we ain't even really talking about you. We really more talking about your mama.
Yeah, we got your back, niece.
Right.
Well, I tell you what. Y'all saw what she said. She don't trust.
Just like her mama.
Woo, that sweatshirt fine.
You hear Blue? He said that sweatshirt fire.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
a Christmas sweater. What it say?
Oh, she gonna do 67 days of ugly Christmas sweaters.
You right. I'm like, it's not even December. I'm talking about this.
Go ahead, child. God damn, I had to cut my cover off.
I just got me some support HBCU sweaters. Yeah.
I just got my support HBCU shirt where I hadn't picked it up yet, but they done. You know, we AKA, we do it. HBCU initiative. Prince, come here, boy. It's in your mouth.
V949 WATV, where the V stands for vital right now. I'm Lady Wu. The crew is in the building and in the virtual studio. We have our Birmingham Police Department's Chief Smith is in with us. Just getting some questions answered, having conversation about. So right now it's the preliminary stuff. We're just kind of like scratching the surface, not really talking about the stuff that you're asking because you're not asking yet. We're talking about the things that we're asking, and we want you to know that you can ask your questions. You can call in with them. You can put them in the social media comments on Facebook. You can even text them if you like. So let's go to Ant first over in the virtual studio. What you got, sir?
So, Chief, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
Great, great. My question is, I guess more of, I just want to know your thoughts on when you were you ever like discouraged to come to Birmingham and be the chief, considering like I guess the crime rate? Would you say that the crime rate is bad? Do you feel like crime is really bad in Birmingham when you took over this position? Was it really rough? Like, did a lot of people try and talk you out of it based off of just the statistics of our killings and just crime and stuff here? So I just want to know your thoughts on that.
I never looked at it in that manner. My goal was to try to bring about some form of solutions to problems rather than looking at the problem thinking that it's unsurmountable. I think that we can, working together, come up with the right solutions for the city of Birmingham. So
Okay.
discouraged, no.
You got to remember, and it was a goal since he was 9. Like this
Right.
was a thing.
And I just want to know, did it ever change? I mean, I heard him talking about that, but when he moved to California and then came back to Tuscaloosa, like, was it ever like, people like, are you sure you still want to go to Birmingham? Like, is that what you really want to do?
Well,
Or did he,
people did say that. People did say that. Are you sure you want to go to Birmingham? Are you sure that's what you want to do? And what's interesting is that my brother is a captain on the Tuscaloosa Police Department.
Hmm.
And so after being here 30 days, he called me and he goes, so you gonna stay? And I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna do this job.
Mm. All right. And that's the type of dedication you need for a place that is like Birmingham. We know it's a very unique place. So like that's kind of what I was asking from the beginning. Crime in Tuscaloosa is now kind of starting to look like crime in Birmingham if I just pay attention to the news. So, I don't know. But when you think about Birmingham's personality just all across the board with crime, with violence, with politics, Birmingham is unique, period.
Mhm.
Um, what what's the concoction that is needed to keep Birmingham stable? Because we know that crime and violence is not something that you can just cure, but
Right.
to keep our equilibrium on point, like what is it? What does it take?
You know what? It takes all of us. There, there's
Mm.
no there's no magic wand. There's no secret potion. It takes all of us wanting to commit to resolution.
Yeah.
It takes all of us wanting to have a better Birmingham. And it takes improving our systems, improving our educational system,
Yes.
improving our system for jobs, and helping families out of poverty. It
Hmm.
takes improving a number of things, but it takes all of us to work together to do this.
I think you just hit on everything that I thought it took, but I know that a lot of these violent crimes that we talk about and that we see are not those who really have the interest of a better Birmingham. Like, no, I live in this particular place that is beefing with this particular place,
Exactly.
and I'm gonna go over there and shoot them, and then they're gonna come back and shoot us, and then
Exactly.
like,
A lot of it is retaliation based, and it's been arguments that stem back from high school that's been going on for 5, 10 years.
Right.
yeah,
And until we all work together, and we're looking at starting like an interrupters model, trying
mm-hmm,
to um, bring people together, bring some form of resolution,
uh-huh.
also talk folks out of the ongoing disputes. But it's going to take a lot. And look, this isn't something to whereas we got here overnight and we're not going to flip a switch and be on the other side overnight. It's going
Right.
to take a lot of work, a lot of commitment, and dedication from a lot of people to make sure that things happen the way that it should.
Eddie, before you, Alicia has a question. Have there been talks about a psychologist or therapist being added to the force? So here on our show, we have 3 licensed
Hmm.
therapists. Eddie, Ready Eddie's one of them. I'm
Hmm.
one of them, and
Hmm.
Courtney's one of them.
Hmm.
And Blue teaches a course as well. I won't name the place that he does it, but he teaches a course. It's called Restorative Justice, and we've been talking about
Hmm.
conflict resolution and different things like that that we could get into the community to teach. Is there a place for us?
You, you know, I would say absolutely. And here's where another difference. Um, a lot of people may not know that we already have a number of social workers that work with the police department,
Hmm.
helping families, helping them relocate at difficult times after domestic violence and things of that nature,
Yes.
helping families every day. But there's always additional space for different thought processes. And trust me, I do not have a closed mind to anything like that.
Yeah.
We have to be very creative. We have to be willing to work together, and not everyone. We don't have to agree with each other every day of the week. We don't. We're going to see things differently, and that's a great thing when we can still work together and see things differently.
For sure. Thank you. So now we know we got a place. We got
So
somewhere we can make a
so
difference.
the department that I came from previously,
Mhm.
we had psychologists on staff all the time
Okay.
that work with our officers. Um, After major incidents, say there's an officer involved shooting,
Yeah.
say they're going through a difficult time. If you notice, I just started the peer counseling program with the department because um, working as a law enforcement officer, you see a lot of trauma and a lot of different things in the community, and you need to have a place or someone to work through sometimes in difficult times. But then we also need to have that different connection with the community,
Right.
different classes that we can offer, different things that we can do as a department to remain engaged with the community and work with the community. As I said, I'm completely open to a number of things, and I'd love to hear your ideas.
Wonderful. All right. Eddie, what you got?
Okay. So there's only so much that legislation and rule books can do when it comes
Exactly.
to individuals that have problematic backgrounds,
Mm-hmm.
don't have the moral fortitude,
Mm-hmm.
have character traits that conflict with the work.
Mm-hmm.
They always say, that it's only a few bad apples, but the rest of the quote is that a few bad apples spoils the bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your ideas when it comes to how the police force can kind of cleanse itself of people that don't have the desire or the intent, or who are just not willing to do the work to connect in a way that will benefit the community versus those isolated people that harm the community, hence harming kind of the whole view of the police force in that regard.
Okay. So when I first started talking, I appreciate your question. I first started talking, I mentioned about training, and I also mentioned about I believe that we can and will have a professional police department, completely up and down the line. That's just my belief in how I feel a police department should operate. We have to be multi be able to multitask and be multifunctional. And what I mean by that is when we see a family in need, if we can help, then we need to be able to put together resources to try to help that family. When we see someone that has a special need and we have the ability to fulfill that, we should try to come up with a plan to work our way through that. And that's why I said that we did the 5 food giveaways, because that's showing officers how to take a situation that we see happening in the community, number of people out of work, COVID, everything is down, and create a solution to help the community, even if it's just small. If we can just give you enough food for one day, okay, now let's start working on tomorrow. Um, but as a department, we have to work with the community, and the community, I hope, will be accepting of us and willing to work with us. On the other side of that, I want you to go back and pull up our police accountability report. You look at that report in the middle, it tells you the number of officers who have been held accountable on the Birmingham Police Department for the various things that they have done, and the ones who have been terminated for not fulfilling their obligation to the community or doing things in the right way. But then I want you to go all the way to the back. In the back of that accountability report, it shows you a number of officers that I've honored for doing outstanding work, for saving lives, for helping people, for going well above and beyond what was necessary, and highlighting their significant work. So there's a lot to be done. Um, I I want to fulfill my role as chief of police to make sure that we are doing what we're supposed to do as a police department.
All right. So there are some questions and comments on the live as well. And one of them says, what do you think about the stand your ground law?
So so
Take your time with it.
well, I want to be realistic.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword. Okay. Most times, the stand your ground law, in some instances, who is on usually on the receiving end of the stand your ground?
Mm-hmm.
Black folks.
I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
let's just think about it. Was that law designed for us?
Doesn't even sound like it.
Yeah, yeah, like you say,
Like,
stand your
what does that
ground.
sound
Yeah.
like? Right.
I
Right.
mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Seriously. So I always look at things on a realistic level. How does this how does this law, it has applied to some of us who were under attack
Mhm.
and had had the ability and right to defend themselves, and I'm completely for that. But then I look at some of the other instances where this has been used completely wrong, and I just hope that as a city or as a nation, we don't go there. And I think we all know what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
Skittles and kids.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just don't. I just don't think that's the appropriate measure of which this law was designed to be applied.
And there's another one very similar to that. Since the death of George Floyd, has there been any measures put in place to ensure officers do not use the knee on the neck?
Okay, so first here we don't teach placing the knee on the neck. We don't teach um, the neck restraints, the full carotid, modified carotid, none of that stuff. Bar
Yeah.
arm, we don't teach that, and so we just made it extremely clear in our policies and made policy changes to say specifically we don't use this type of hold, or we don't do this or that.
Okay. All right. Any questions in the virtual studio? Any thoughts that you guys have over there?
I just want to ask the chief. I know he had identified that he was willing to work with different organizations in the community. Are you currently now working with any organizations in the community to help reduce crime? And if
Well,
so,
as I
which
mentioned
ones
about
are they?
the domestic violence, we work with a number of partners for our domestic violence and issues within the community, such as one place to try to assist in someone from a difficult situation, the YMCA for placement, a number of things like that within the community. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you all of them, but we also have a youth council. So we bring our youth in and we talk about a number of issues that relate to our young people, because uh, sometimes we go about our lives and we completely forget about our young people and the issues that they're going through, the bullying and things of that nature. And so from that, we created the safe passage so that we're helping kids get to school to eliminate some of the bullying along the way, uh, number of the issues that they might have to and from. And so, um, as I said, I try to keep an open mind to this. I don't have all the answers, but I have two ears that are willing to listen to you. Uh, I'm willing to work with you and anyone else who has a great idea. And most importantly, I'll say this again, we don't always have to agree, but that doesn't mean we can't work together.
Yeah. Thank you. Are officers required to have psychological evals for or to be fit for duty? And then Courtney will be coming to you.
Yes, that's a part of the hiring process. And anytime we can send someone back for a psychological eval, and I've sent officers back for evaluation even since I've been here.
All right, Courtney.
Hey, good evening, Chief. So here's my question, and it's probably the therapist in me that wants to ask this, but I feel like this position comes with an extreme amount of pressure, probably a lot of expectations set forth for you. And then you see a lot, day in and day out of what's happening in the city. And so I'm wondering, personally, like what examples do you feel like you set forth for your officers to see? Because I think we're talking a lot about, what the officers should be doing, what they're doing. Are they tested? Are they, all of these things. But I know a lot of things starts with our leadership. So, personally, what do you feel like it is that you do that, the people that you lead can look at and say, okay, yeah, maybe I need to do that to help, manage myself so that when I go out and I'm faced with situations, I can take self out of it and do my job to the best of my ability.
Well, the number one thing that you can do is lead by example, and I try to do that on a daily basis. Um, I'm not new to this business. I've been a law enforcement officer for over 30 years now, and so um, this is why I created the additional training for our officers so that every other month they go to training. This gives them downtime to, uh, it's not only providing training, but it gives them downtime to talk to other officers, have camaraderie, work together, work through problems, anything that they might be going through. While they may not be uh, willing to talk to me about it, but there may be someone else there that can help them along the way and provide them the necessary peer counseling or development that they might need.
Awesome. All right, so there's a question online. What explanation do you offer to the critics of the additional 11 million that was given to the Birmingham Police Department in the 2021 budget?
Okay, so first let me explain that our budget was actually decreased and not increased. So the increase that you see is because additional responsibility was placed upon the police department and upon myself, being that um, it saves the city money,
Hmm.
but they moved over all of parking enforcement to the Birmingham Police Department, which was in another department, and they also moved over the security guards for all of the various facilities within the city, and all of them were also moved over to the police department. And so what you're seeing is a shifting of the budget that was someplace else added to the police department for the additional personnel to fulfill those obligations and responsibilities of the facilities.
All right. Thank you for that. Sir, say what you got.
All right, Chief. So we talked about working with organizations and listening to the community,
Hmm.
but how important is it to you in light of what's going on in different cities like Minnesota with or Louisville with Breonna Taylor or George Floyd or whomever? How is it important to you to be able to be proactive as opposed to reactive as far as your policing strategy?
It's very important to be proactive, and the training is about being proactive. Working with the community is about being proactive. Every month, I mean, let me go back. Every Monday, I hold virtual meetings with various people in the community to try to bring about to hear their concerns, what's going on in their community, and also I make sure that we adjust our policy to what's going on and what is current within law enforcement as things happen throughout the nation. But what I don't want us to do is in Birmingham is to adopt problems from other areas that don't apply to
Hmm.
us. We need to focus on our issues. We need to fix the things that are happening in our community. And we need to work on those problems systematically. And we as a community have to work together to make sure that we are addressing the issues here in Birmingham.
All right. We have time for another question or so, another comment if you all have it. I'm still looking on social to see if there's one from there that we would like to share. Blue,
So
Hey, I want to say something.
Mhm.
go
go ahead.
ahead.
Chief, I just really think you're doing an awesome job. I really do. I've been watching you. I notice a difference in how the officers carry themselves. Like I really been paying attention. I like that you don't get involved in a lot of um, gibberish or a lot of foolishness. You're always very professional. So I just want to commend you on the job that you're doing. I see your works. Of course, criminals don't like it, but those of us who want to have or feel safer in Birmingham. Really appreciate all that you are trying to do. So just keep it up. Keep your head up.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. We're doing, and we're going to continue to do everything that we can to try to bring about safe communities here in the city of Birmingham. As I said, we can't do it by ourselves. We need you. We need every one of you to work with us, and we need to all work together to try to make sure that the safety and protection of our communities, our kids, our schools are the best that we possibly can.
Awesome. So guys, this is our first time talking to Chief on the air with Vital. So you're not going to get there are a lot of additional questions that come behind questions and things like that. That's a 2-hour interview and we have a second half of the show. And Chief, I know that this was awesome for you.
No, it's okay. You know what? I would do this anytime, any day of the week, so that we are communicating with each
Awesome.
other. We know what's going on. Uh, we may have to have some difficult conversations sometimes. Not every time is going to be easy. I don't shy away from people asking me difficult questions. That's just a part of the job and what we have to do.
Right.
But the most important thing is that we're talking to each other.
Wonderful. So we will be talking more.
Okay.
I appreciate you and thank you for coming
We're
in.
gonna make sure the invitation get to the right spot.
Yeah, we can just gonna do it straight with
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hey, it is what it is at this point. So now we know. So for those of you who have questions, have more questions, hopefully we can get those answered for you. Follow-up questions are very much important. And as journalists, we do know that. But time is not on our side when it comes to produce shows. So for our second half of the show, DMR, there have been pictures about black love and these couple groups. So have you all been to the cabin with different couples and been on cruises with couples and like date nights and stuff like that with other couples? Do you all do that?
From time to time.
It takes a special group of people to do that. So we're going to meet one of the groups that's doing that in our second half of DMR, and hopefully you guys can get some ideas and get some encouragement on your black love. So that's part 2, hour 2, right here on Vital. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to end the stream that you're watching now and start our part 2 stream in just a few. Chief, tell them good night.
Hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm so thankful to hear your voices, hear your questions. I am here. I am here to work with you, and I am here to try to bring about resolution to things here in Birmingham. And I just hope and I pray that each and every one of you will work with me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll be right back. Part
Thanks so
2.
much, man.
So we okay?
Yep, we good.